Liquid profiling tones and talks. No, of course, it's Kemper Profiler tones and talks, but it's about liquid profiling. We are still in season 2 with our special broadcast about liquid profiling, the latest and, well, most probably greatest from Kemper for the profiler. And yeah, we will have this second episode that's dealing with liquid profile, and we have with us Thomas Dill. Hi.
Hi.
Of course, because he went through all the do's and don'ts and good practices and best practices and protocols that work the best for various types of amps. And today we will learn a lot more about some special amps and how to deal with them. And yeah, of course, if you have questions, feel free to throw them below the video. We will have a look at it, and then maybe do, if you like, a third episode, Sondersendung, as we call it in German, about liquid profiling to directly and precisely answer your questions. So now over to Thomas, and before I forget it, Thomas will also offer all the profiles he just created with the new tech from his website for you guys to purchase. So follow this series here for more information. Whenever the website is up, there will be a link and more information. So be sure you will be able to try this at home as well. So
yeah,
now,
website is dillrigs.com. But the rigs will be available in September because I need to work a little bit on that sounds. They won't be only amp profiles. They will be sorted for typical musical styles, blues, classic rock. So everybody gets his sound pack tweaked, already made. You just need to put your sound in the microwave and then eat it.
Perfect.
So all the lazy bastards out there who won't edit the sounds, I will do that, but I need a little bit of time. So yeah, in September.
Okay, cool. So you will have also the corresponding well-seasoned to taste effect settings and all.
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay,
some spicy stuff, everything. I hope so.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to this, and maybe we can pick some and showcase them in one of the next episodes as well. So, okay. Anywho, we're looking forward to this, and now you share with us some experiences you made using the liquid profiling tech on some special amps. So please take over and let us know.
So the next one is I called it the gray hair profile. So it was a really tricky one because it's really an amp that I got this year. I love it, and it's an amp or amp style I was really long looking for. The great Dumble, but it's not a Dumble, an original Dumble. I can't afford that. It's a clone. It's a clone by Seriatone, and I will show you a picture because it's interesting to have a look at this amp. The architecture of this amp or this amp style, this Dumble amp style is it has a clean, something like a clean channel, which is controlled by the volume knob on the left. If you turn on the overdrive, the clean channel or this channel is not switching. It's a cascading gain stages amp. So that means you have the overdrive channel controlled by level and ratio Ratio is the volume of the overdrive sound, and level is the amount of gain from the overdrive channel. So this is the second gain stage, and here we have the first gain stage. And also, if you turn up the ratio knob, it overdrives the power amp, and is something like, let's say the second half gain stage. So when I started doing that, taking the profile of this amp, I took everything in the middle from the EQ, then maximum gain. So that means level at maximum, volume at maximum. And I tried one at first. Ratio also, something near maximum. Sounds totally, nobody would do that in real life. And the profile didn't sound good. Then I took the ratio down, as you could see on this picture, to about 11 o'clock. And then just checked out some settings with the first gain stage and the second gain stage, and I like to show you that. So here we have the rig manager, and here is serial tone. You see 1710, so that means 1700 the o'clock, then 10 o'clock, and the other one is 916. So first gain stage maximum, second gain stage at 10 o'clock. The next one. Sounds a bit less compressed. For me, better, but definitely not dumble sound. Definitely not. So there is a little bit more to tweak. So the first problem that I had was, I profiled it at this position. So set bass, middle, treble, presence in the middle. Amp model, there is no dumble, serial tone or something like that here. So you need, if your amp model is not there, take the Kemper generic, and you can switch it afterwards, no problem, but don't take something like Vibrolux or of a different amp type. So always when there's no amp tone stack amp model available, take the Kemper generic. But very important, I need to switch over to the other camera. This is not here in the rig manager right now with this beta version. So we have, can you see it? It's not really nice picture, but you have here the gain pot reference. And it's better. And I turned that all the way up. So that means maximum gain. Sometimes I've really for the dumble, when I just adjusted it by ear. So when I had these settings on the amp, these settings with volume, first volume at maximum and the second at 10. So that means it's a bit, slightly before maximum. So the gain pot reference was adjusted just by feel. So what I thought it would be right. And here we are again with the rig manager. So this is the sound with a 916, and you see volume is at 9, level 16, ratio at 11. This is here in the amp tags. And now, go back to the browser mode. I take, to tweak it, Fender Bassman Bright tone stack. Some people say that the dumble is closed. Some dumbles, everyone's different, are closed to the tone stack of the Bassman. So this is my first value on that. And you see, gain is really at maximum. Turn the gain a little bit down. You get that one. Maybe take a little bit presence. Take the middle a little bit, take the bass out. So it's a little bit bitey for me, not close to the Robin Ford tone. To get close, you need to be Robin Ford, by the way. Okay, so now the bright cap comes on. Right. Confusing for the guitar player, too much cameras. Bright cap intensity, so. Getting it down. Getting a bit warmer on the higher strings. So you're coming. Dial in some delay. Maybe a little bit more gain. Going back to the rig manager. So here we are. So you're coming closer. Very dynamic, working, and yeah, it's always searching for this tone, searching for what to dial in, what to tweak, and yeah, coming closer to the original tone. So this was really, because of these two gain stages, was really a little bit harder to get the tone and the original amp tone then. But yeah, always, like I said in the last episode, if maximum gain doesn't work, then take the gain a little bit down, just a little bit, and set the gain pot reference then also at a lower value. And you get a more better controllable sound and a more, yeah, closer to the original sound, especially for these special amps, and especially for amps which don't have a tone stack integrated in the Kemper Profiler.
So, so this basically is now an approach. It's in between the white coat and the sweet spot approach.
Yeah.
So you're approaching this from both sides, basically, to get to a place where the profile turns out the best, and then becomes tweakable with the assumption that it's the Bassman thing. Okay, yeah, but that's also in a way great, because there's room for creativity and for individual tone shaping, tone creation as well, and that's pretty interesting.
Also, it's you have a great basis for a good tone. If you do some neutral white coat profiles, and you need maybe a little bit of time to dial in those tones. It's the same. I worked with the Dumble or with the Dumble clone a lot to dial in the best tone, because it's really tricky. Then you turn up the mids, the sound is totally different. And another thing, what I did is the amp has some switches, so the jazz and rock switch, and for that one I take a separate profile. So it's always first profile of the first start is get the right amount of gain, and take profile 1 with this sweet spot neutral setting, I would say, sweet spot gain neutral setting, white coat. Then take the first profile, take another switch, second profile, and so with these amps with switches you need a little bit more profiles if the switches create some good sounds. Yes. So for my opinion, the overdrive sound with a bright switch really on 2, the second position, doesn't really sound good, even if you have a microphone before the cabinet, which is like a 57, which creates a harsher tone. So you don't need that profile. But this is you have this one profile, but when there are some switches, because in the tone stacks there are only the controls, not switches and everything. So you need to do another round then.
Yeah, okay. But then, you need to switch the amp, and then you can switch the rig as well.
And another thing, what you can, what you don't have to be afraid of is that one. So here is my serial tone, 916, tweaked. I did replace the rig. Maybe, let's say, it was late at night, and I did this. Yeah, maybe that one. So totally confusing, totally tweaked out and tweaked wrong, and replaced the rig. So that was the profile. Big problem. Do I need to do another profile? Do I need to take all this stuff? No, because there are some buttons which will help you. It's again not really good, the picture. You see it halfway?
Yeah. We can.
Here's a button. Restore gain, restore amp model, restore.
Cool.
So that means I will show you the rig manager again. So this is the stored rig. Everybody thinks, okay, I can't go back. When I now take restore EQ, it goes to the middle. Restore amp model goes to Kemper generic. Restore gain goes to the same gain as the profile was made, and the definition knob. And now everything's fine again. So this is the Command C going back to the original state of the profile. So the profiler stores the settings while profiling, and he always did store that. So that means you can go back to the original setting in a profile that you did 5 years ago. By restore gain, restore EQ, restore amp model. So 5 years ago, you only had the Kemper generic amp model. But if you do something wrong late at night and you want to go back to the original version, your profile is not broken or gone or something like that.
That's amazing. Okay, cool.
So another one is, what people ask. What do I do when I have an amp which is not here integrated? So here's the value. It's the Valve, an Italian amp, which has a 3-channel amp, Bogner style, and this is the crunch channel. Also profiled at maximum gain level. So I did that with gain at maximum, treble presence at the middle position. And you see it here. I always need to switch those cameras. The gain pot reference knob at 10. So that means that profile was created with gain at maximum on the amp. This is the reference for the gain knob. Even if the normal gain, you see that at Brick Manager, the gain is set at 5.8. But this is some, let's say overall gain, from ridiculous at 10 to clean at 0. This is created by the profiler, but the profiler has stored in the profile that the gain reference was at maximum on this particular amp. So that means now, I want to tweak that profile because it doesn't sounds okay, but doesn't sound quite good for me. So let's take a Friedman B&E tone stack. You see here the gain is at 10. Quite okay for rock style. Then a little bit presence, a little bit mids, and you see on the tone stack from the Friedman, you can dial in the presence really high. Even if you take the mid. With a normal Kemper generic, it would sound crazy, too harsh. And taking the treble on. So that one, and taking gain a little bit down. And now, if you like to have a little bit smoother sound, you might take the bright cap intensity, but on the Friedman, there's no bright cap, so you can't do that. If you like to tweak a little bit, then you need to go back to the definition knob. And get this one. So this is, trial and error on tweaking sounds with amp types that are not integrated in the profiler. For me, it's, creative chaos. So great to play with. Maybe take a Soldano amp, tone stack on that. Take a Soldano Crunch Bright. Wait a minute. Here we are. Same settings as on the Friedman. A little bit harsher. And as you can see, this one goes to 11. like on the original Soldano. But here you can see the presence is much more intense as on the Friedman tone stack. Going back to the Friedman tone stacks, same setting. Very interesting. Now with the Soldano, taking the gain a little bit down, it's getting brighter, but I won't switch now to the other camera. The bright cap intensity is available, so bright cap intensity turning down at, yeah, from 10 to 3, maybe more. Not so intense as on the Marshall Plexi, but yeah, it depends on the original tone stack, on the original amp, what they had on this amp, and what the guys from Kemper analyzed for those tone stacks. So yeah, it's really interesting to change the tone stacks and choose some different stuff and create yeah, small different sounds, but especially on the for recording. For recording, you almost need some more brighter sounding amps, less bass, a little bit more treble and presence. And when you play it alone with your guitar, you might think, oh, that sounds too harsh, but for recording, it's definitely in the most cases the right thing to cut through the mix. And here you can really tweak and fine-tune everything. In the earlier days, I really took the studio EQ on the profiler at the effect module behind the stack and tweaked the slight frequencies, but it was yeah, tweaking studio EQs. Now you can really dial in your amp tones, and the feel while tweaking is like you do it everything on your original amp, and the reaction is way much better.
Yeah, because you're dealing with the way the amp distorts
Yeah.
the tone stack and not trying to yeah, you get it. It's always so difficult to describe this effect, how much is going on when you're changing something in front of the amp or the tone stack, because it all interacts with each other, and it's yeah, it's more magic. It has more mojo.
And of course, that's what people really criticized on the profiling system. Yeah, okay, it's sounds like my amp, but when I tweak some knobs, when I turn on the mids or turn down the mids, doesn't sound like my amp.
Yeah,
That's what the people said, and they were right. I did some stuff placing the EQ in front of the gain stack. This is from the EQ position in the EQ menu, or in the editor. You see it, EQ position, post or pre. So you could distort, or you could by turning on treble and presence, you get a more brighter overdrive tone, because the boost on these specific frequencies were hitting the gain stage and were overdriving the amp. And this is so the Fender style. And but now, yeah, it's way much better.
That's amazing. And is there a suggestion what to try out, or would you say everything is allowed? So in one of the last episodes of the Legends tribute, you were trying some Fender type tone stack, and you put it onto, I don't know, more like a Marshall profile. So even that might work.
Yeah.
You said if it's
say
easy.
if it sounds good, you're right. So first of all, my approach is taking the original. If it's not there, take something which is close to the original. So that means if you have a Fender amp style, take one Fender amp. If you have a Marshall amp style, take the Marshall. If you have a high gain amp, take something like Soldano, Friedman, or the rectifier, the PVs, and try out. And if it doesn't fit, take the other one. So there's not the right way. Maybe the way is take something, an amp type which is close to your profiled amp type. And I think they will create much more tone stacks. Christoph said that. Engel is not here. What's Hiwatt and all these other stuff. So they are really much the Dumble, but Dumble is absolutely difficult because every Dumble is different. So
yeah, that's true. So what would you say if somebody comes with a Bad Cat amp to you? Would you recommend to start with a Vox tone stack or something else? Because everybody says that the Bad Cats are based.
Is the AC30. I would say AC30 top boost. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And maybe if that doesn't work, take the Marshall TM50 45, something like that. But in the I think that the Bad Cat has also the presence, not presence, the other tone control. How do you call it? I'm getting old. Brain.
You don't mean the Bright Cap yet?
No.
The tone control, that's
the cut control. The cut.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. See. Okay.
And so on the Bad Cat, I think they have the cut control also. So then it's good to have it also in the tone stack then.
Okay, yeah, pretty interesting. And it will be. There's some discussion that you don't need that many profiles now per amp, but the truth lies in between, because you can go creative and create something on your own. Because if you have something from Michael Britt or from you, from your upcoming collection, it's now possible to pretty much turn it into something completely different. And with all the other options, the drives and EQs and morphing, whatever, the whole world even becomes a bigger place in terms of possible amp tones now.
And I really didn't do already profiles with drive pedals, but I will try it out. And let's see how that works, because the drive has something like a tone stack integrated. Then you have an amp with a tone stack, and then you need to choose what works. So it will be I will put my white coat on and And the science man comes back and will report about that. So what works? Which amp and which overdrive pedal? Because this is the next confusing situation. How much gain? How much EQ? What in the middle? And yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I will come back. But another thing I'd like to say, what if you have a profile from the past, one of your own, or something by the great ones, Michael Britt or Bert, which isn't a liquid profile? You can turn a normal profile, a classic profile, into a liquid profile. And I'd like to show you, I hope I understood that right in the manual. So here we are with a Friedman profile I made, I think, about 3-4 years ago. Neutral setting, how it was profiled. And if you know the settings on the amp while profiling, you can turn it into the most closest liquid profile. And I'm happy that I wrote down the settings while I was profiling the Friedman. And so this is the profile original. You see it? Kemper generic, gain in the mid. And on the amp, I had, wait a minute. First of all, take the amp type. Where is he? Friedman B&E. That was the channel. And I need to look at my sheet. Gain at 7. Oh, wait. I'd like to store it as a new one, duplicate it, because we want to compare now. Yeah. Okay. Take Friedman B&E, gain 7, bass at 7, middle treble 5, and the presence also at 7. Now, when you do that, of course, the sound changes. But now, when you go to the profilers menu, and there's on the right, burn long press. So that means this setting will be burned and stored forever. When I press this button long, now the new settings are burned. That means they sound slightly different because now the original sound is turned on again, the profile sound, but with this setting. So to take over with the original amp setting. Is this understandable?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Again, rig manager. And now I replace the rig. So here we have the original tweaked, and here's the original setting. Old school profile, same sound, but with the right settings. And now you can start creating the tone. got it?
I got it. Wow, cool.
Okay. So this is great to have when you know your settings from the amp. Maybe you don't need to be at 7.5 something in between, just close. And then, but you don't have to be confused when you do this first tweaking to get into the settings, the original settings. It sounds different, but when you press burn, it goes back to the original sound, but the tone stack, the EQ is placed over the sound, and you can start tweaking, and the amp reacts like the original. So this is something like taking a classic profile into a liquid profile. And now if you that's what I wanted to show now. If you go back to you tweaked it somewhere, and you go back, restore gain, restore amp model, restore EQ, we have this one. So this is the current setting. I don't really know why it's 7.9. I think it's a bug. It should be 7.0, but okay, it's better version.
Yeah.
Not better version, beta version.
Beta. Not better, it's beta.
But it might be getting better. But this is just small stuff, you know. And but this is maybe if some older profiles or anything, you can restore this stuff and taking it over to a liquid profile or taking the tone stack on it.
Yeah, pretty interesting. The tweakability of the profiles is now, up the wazoo, and it's always basically behaving like a real amp, even if you go pretty far away from the original you created because of all your edits and maybe using a different tone stack and stuff like that. But still, when you tweak it then even further, it's you're tweaking in the realm of a tube amp and not somewhere else, as it was before. When you tweak it, you were always able to get great results, but now it's even again more authentic. You can play more authentic.
In the past, I didn't really use the EQ on the amp that much. Only when the EQ was just a little bit, 12, 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock, somewhere, when it was set to post. Just small cosmetic things, because when you turn that one up, maybe presence to 15 and treble to 15, it sounded harsh, too harsh, and not Christoph don't like the word digital. It sounded not really great, but with this tone stacks available, and now you can turn on the presence and nothing crazy happens. So you have the right frequency range for that amp, and it works great. So because all the old amp creators, the tube amp manufacturers, they took these specific pots for and the specific frequency range to adjust their sounds and to get this great sound. So we need to have that too.
Yeah, and if anybody has heard about the mighty Alan Krauser, we did a couple of videos with him, the wild tapping artist. The the profile he plays is one I took at our very first presentation before the release of the profiler at #1 Music Store in Hamburg. And it was just a drive-by profiling. It's the Arrowhead by the German amp maker Tube Thomsen. And it was I think the Crunch channel or the Rhythm channel it was called. And I just stuck an SM57 in front of it, and I just took a profile, and then we had other stuff, and afterwards I was checking it out, and I really liked that and tweaked it, and funny enough, it ended up with Erlen Krauser as well, so you can hear it in all his videos. But now I took it and tried some tone stacks with it, and it becomes a completely different beast. I recommend, because it's on the RIG Exchange, I recommend the Marshalls, because the Crunch channel is a little bit close to Marshalls of that Tube Thomsen. Rest in peace, by the way. Niels Thomsen moved on a couple of years ago. And yeah, so this is really worth investigating, because if you just want to do some quick edits for recording or preparing for a live show, it's a completely different beast than dealing with the former or the generic EQs. Yeah. So again, try this at home. Take your stuff and take it through the paces of all the offerings from the amp model list. And also have a look for the bright cap parameter. If it's there, use it, try it, because that's really a good thing to get a very natural behavior out of your amp profile.
And don't forget to play.
Of course. Be quickly out of the white coat. Make a different mental mode out of this. When you're in the white coat mode, do all what's necessary and required, and then get out of that soon enough, and have fun and play and work on your tone and create music with it.
It's really very much important to take one setting and then leave it. And then talk to yourself and say, okay, I start playing. I need to, experiment with that profile or with that sound, and getting warm with it. It's like a pair of shoes. Some new shoes don't fit great, but you need to walk in that. You can't put on your shoes, put the next one. This is what some people do while they were tweaking. And then you end up doing crazy stuff because you can't hear anything. So take a little bit of time, tweak it, store it, and then play.
Yeah, and record. If you have the ability to record, use the USB audio stuff now. Just quickly record, take the same drum kit maybe, and do some quick recordings, and revisit these recordings the next day, because the ear is so quickly tricked into a different impression. And if you listen to the next day, so why is all so dull, or why is all so bright, and why are the high mids so harsh, and whatever. It's really amazing. And also compare to your records or music collection, because it's easy now, especially with the USB stuff, with the profiler. You can have your iTunes next to the RIG manager, your Apple Music or Spotify, whatever. And you can listen to the original guitar sounds from the productions and compare your stuff next to it. So you have at least a little bit of a reference, so you don't go all over the place because when you're just listening to the guitar, as I said, your ear plays tricks on you and your brain so quickly. It's good to have that reference. Yeah. All right. If you have questions, of course, again, leave them in the comments. There will be information about when Thomas' collection becomes available.
Yeah.
And if you have nothing to add for this episode, then thank you so much for investigating this and taking the time to find out even these very special conditions with some very special amps. And we'll be back with more about this. And thank you for watching and listening. I say goodbye. Goodbye, Thomas. Thanks again.
Bye.